there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of professional wrestlers out there in the history of wrestling and wrestling promotions. And today we've got 10 wrestlers involved in shocking crimes. Now, we might have heard about some of these on Dark Side of the Ring, most likely. I don't know. I haven't fielded this video just yet. But if you guys want to support the original uploader of the content, please click the top link in the description. If you would like to hang out with me and the beautiful flock here on Twitch, click the bottom link. I also got a Patreon that is free with free bonus content that I cannot upload to YouTube because it's too spicy. Without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Some wrestlers broke the rules in the ring, and others broke the law for real. And we're kicking off our list with Scott Hall. Hall was Razor Ramon in the WWF and a founding member of the NWO, but years before any of that, he was involved in a real-life killing outside of a strip club in Orlando. After a man smashed up his car in the parking lot, Hall confronted him.
You know, I do think I watched a video a while ago talking about crimes. They like barely glanced over the Scott Hall entry. But yeah, we were like, he killed somebody? Was this like a self-defense thing now? Cause that's spooky.
And things spiraled out of control. A loaded gun was pulled by the other guy during the fight, which Hall managed to grab off him, but then he accidentally shot the man point blank in the head. It killed him instantly, and Hall was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. He faced the possibility of life behind bars, but the case never went to trial after investigators ruled that there wasn't enough evidence to convict. Even though he avoided prison, the shooting stayed with him. Scott would later say that the guilt and trauma from that night were a major reason for the substance abuse issues he suffered throughout his life. At number 9, it's Booker T.
Okay, just real quick on the Scott Hall thing. That's terrible to be haunted by something like that, man. Like, I feel like accidental killings and all that, that's just a whole other can of worms to open up, dude. Like, I feel guilty when I kill an invasive fly or some shit in my house. I really don't. I'll smoke any fly that pops up. But like, to take a life and then just kind of have to be like, yo, you got away with that by like the skin of your teeth. Like, oof. That is a whole other timeline where Scott Hall just never became Razor Ramon. Like, just in the system. Gone.
In 1987, Booker was part of a group that committed a string of armed robberies across Houston. They targeted Wendy's fast food restaurants, where he used to work. Wearing their Wendy's uniforms, Booker and his accomplices held up employees at gunpoint, using their insider knowledge of the restaurants to hit multiple locations. Eventually, the gang was caught, and Booker pled guilty to 2 counts of aggravated robbery.
That's your real bugshot, Booker? This could definitely be like a fucking, like somebody's mixtape cover, like a single cover on SoundCloud. You wouldn't even notice it's Booker T.
He was sentenced to 5 years behind bars, but served around 19 months before being paroled. He later called prison the wake-up call that saved his life, because it put him on the straight and narrow, and eventually on the road to becoming a world heavyweight champion.
I'm glad he turned it around after that, though.
Number 8 on our list is Sid Vicious. Sid was one of wrestling's most intimidating superstars, a 6'9" psycho who held world titles in both the WWF and WCW. But his real-life temper exploded during a WCW tour of the UK in 1993. After a night of drinking at a hotel bar after a show, Sid got into an argument with Arn Anderson. Things escalated to the point where Sid was banging on Arn's hotel room door while holding a chair leg as a weapon. When Arn opened the door, he was armed with a pair of scissors, and a brutal fight broke out. Arn stabbed Sid first, but Sid then got control of the scissors and ended up stabbing him over 20 times. The hotel
Oh, 20 times? Yo, wait, whoa, wait, whoa. What are we doing? That's that's a big motherfucker to just have on you. Were they just like doing all that in the fucking hotel hallway? As an employee of that hotel, I would not. I would not. I'm not getting nowhere near that. We need the cops to get here. I'm hiding. I don't want none of them to turn towards me or nothing but mistake. I don't want no.
Our hallway was reportedly soaked in blood, and both men were hospitalised after the fight. Neither man pressed charges, and the British police declined to prosecute them since both of them were leaving the country. Sid was fired from WCW when he touched back down in the United States, and he always said that he deeply regretted the situation for the rest of his life. Criminal wrestler number 7 is New Jack.
Where's Matt? Mac, your boy popped up. Mac, your guy.
By late 1996, ECW was getting ready to launch its first ever pay-per-view, and the company couldn't afford any bad publicity. That's where New Jack came in. Jack had a real-life criminal record and was known for being exceptionally violent in the ring. At an ECW house show in Massachusetts, Jack faced a 17-year-old rookie known as Mass Transit, a kid who had lied about his age to get on the show. During the match, New Jack bladed him at the kid's request, but he sliced too deep into his head. He ended up severing 2 arteries and leaving the teenager gushing blood all over the ring. New Jack was charged with assault and battery with a weapon, and ECW's debut pay-per-view was pulled from the schedules as the scandal went mainstream. Jack was later acquitted after it came out that Mass Transit had lied about his age and his training, but the incident cemented his reputation as one of the most dangerous men in wrestling. At number 6, it's Jose Gonzalez. In 1988,
Oh, was this the dude that stabbed was it Bruiser Brody?
Gonzalez and Bruiser Brody were working together in Puerto Rico. Gonzalez believed that Brody had disrespected him in the ring by refusing to sell for him, and so he decided to get revenge. In the locker room showers, Gonzalez asked Brody to step aside and talk, but instead of talking, he pulled a knife and stabbed Brody in the stomach. Brody...
That's fucking crazy, dude. Yo, what kind of shit is that? That ego shit is so absurd to me, bro. Bro said, you are selling my wrestling moves? You have to die for that. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, bro?
He screamed for help, and Tony Atlas rushed in to find Gonzalez, still standing over him with the blade in his hand. Brody was taken to hospital, but it was too late. He died from his injuries shortly after. Key witnesses like Tony Atlas weren't contacted in time, and they couldn't testify, so the jury never heard the full story.
That is fucking crazy,
dude. It was a shocking failure of justice and one of the darkest moments in wrestling history. At number 5 on our list of criminal wrestlers, it's Art Barr. Before finding fame in Mexico, Barr was a rising star on the US independent scene. But in 1989, his career nearly ended when he was charged with sexually abusing a 19-year-old woman after a wrestling show in Oregon.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing that was associated with Art Barr. Uh-oh. Oh. Dude, I just saw one of his matches for the fucking first time last week, and I was like singing all his praises. I did not know this was associated with him, man.
Barr initially claimed that the encounter was consensual, but during a police polygraph, he admitted that she hadn't consented. He took a plea deal and was convicted of first-degree sexual abuse and sentenced to probation and community service. He avoided jail, but he didn't escape the stigma of being a convicted sex offender, and he was effectively blackballed from wrestling in the United States. He later reinvented himself in Mexico alongside Eddie Guerrero as part of Los Gringos Locos, but in 1994 he died from a drug-related heart attack at just 28 years old. At number 4.
Damn, dude. It's like, you know his voice? I was like, yo, how did I get a voice like that? Fucking Tyler the Creator. Why does he sound like that? Which demon? Like, which fucking demon did he sell his soul to get a voice like that? How? Did he fight? How?
It's the appalling crimes of Hardbody Harrison. Harrison wrestled in WCW during the late 90s, mostly as a jobber, known more for his flashy gear than anything he did in the ring. After leaving wrestling, he claimed to be running a wrestling school out of his home in Georgia, but in reality, he was running a sex trafficking operation. Between two...
What kind of fucking leap is that? What the hell? The bro say he was running a wrestling school but was really sex trafficking people? Yo, how, what
2001 and 2005, Harrison lured vulnerable women by promising to train them how to wrestle and then force them into prostitution and unpaid labour. In 2007, Harrison was convicted on 24 federal charges, including sex trafficking, forced labour, and witness tampering. He was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of...
Oh. I think you shouldn't have stopped. I think you should have kept whatever this was, Meng. You should have got that man until he was not able to do anything. I think you could have put an end to this, Mr. Meng. Mr. Menser.
At number 3, it's Billy Jack Haynes. Haynes wrestled for the WWF in the 1980s. He was an intense mid-carder who fans of the era will remember for his feuds with Hercules and Randy Savage. In February 2024, Haynes was arrested after a 2-hour standoff with police at his home in Portland, Oregon. Inside, officers found his 85-year-old wife dead from a gunshot wound. Haynes was charged with second-degree murder and unlawful use of a weapon. According to reports, his wife had suffered from dementia, and circumstances surrounding the shooting remain under investigation. The case is still active, but the accusations alone have shocked long-time wrestling fans.
Definitely got an episode of Dark Side of the Ring that talked about that case. Shameless plug, we might have that on the free Patreon with all the free content for free on the free Patreon. That's a free website that you can go to right now for free. Bonus content, even if I don't upload on YouTube. I have something on Patreon going up every day for free. Shameless plug over.
At number 2 on our list is Sunny. In the 1990s, she was the biggest female star in wrestling and the WWF's original diva, but her fall from fame turned into one of wrestling's most public downward spirals.
Sunny was
After leaving the business, she descended into drug and alcohol abuse, and she racked up a string of arrests. She got done for multiple DUIs, probation violations, disorderly conduct, and even burglary. Then in 2022, things turned deadly. While driving under the influence in Florida, she slammed into a stopped car at a red light and killed a 75-year-old man.
Come on, man. That drunk driving shit. Like how are people still out here drunk driving? How is that a thing that still happens? We gotta make like a VR or something, right? Like You gotta experience a car crash for real. He gonna put you in a fucking automated or like your remote controlled chair, gonna strap your dumb ass in, put a seatbelt on you, put on the VR headset, and really simulate you getting your shit rocked. Like, look what you're doing. Look at what you might do. Look at the possibility that you've made infinitely more possible to happen because you are drunk. Like, what the hell? His Tesla was driving? That's kind of funny. Also, you go in jail. Like, your Tesla can get you a lawyer now.
Her blood alcohol level was over 3 times the legal limit, and witnesses said that she was speeding. In 2023, she was sentenced to more than 17 years in prison.
Damn, Sunny let herself go.
And at number 1, it's the shocking case of Jimmy Superfly Snooker.
Every time I hear about this one, I'm like, yo, this one is so shady. It's not like a lot of shady shit going on here, man. I do not like this one.
Snooker was one of the WWF's most popular superstars in the 1980s. He was a high-flying pioneer whose Superfly splash inspired a generation. But his legacy was forever clouded by the suspicious death of his girlfriend, Nancy Argentino. Nancy was found with traumatic brain injuries in a Pennsylvania hotel room. Snooker was the only person with her that night, and he gave multiple conflicting versions of what happened. The autopsy report noted signs of physical abuse, but no charges were filed at the time. In 1985, Nancy's family won a wrongful death lawsuit against Snooker, though he never paid any of the judgment. Then, more than 30 years later, the case was reopened. In 2015, Snooker was charged with third-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter, but he was later ruled mentally unfit to stand trial due to dementia. The charges were dismissed in 2017, and Snooker died just a few days later. To this day, questions about what really happened that night have never been answered. So that's my list of the most shocking crimes wrestlers have ever been involved in. But if you want more top 10 wrestling lists, from dark scandals to bizarre gimmicks, click the playlist on the screen right now.
You know, funnily enough, though, I did hear something like that Vince paid the police off. I forget where I heard it from, but I definitely did stumble across like a version of the story like that, with that being a detail in it. That's some spooky shit, man. Not a fan of that. That domestic abuse shit is, it's a bit of a soft spot for me. But this was a pretty dope video. I love all the stuff my wrestling videos that we've been recommended to check out so far. The dope content, amazing list. They got a lot of content on their channel. Please do yourself a favor and support the original creator of the content by clicking the top link in the description. If you want to hang out with me and my beautiful birds here on Twitch, you know where to find that link. It's at the bottom. I've also got a Patreon. I've said it already. Why didn't you go there? Go. You know I can see when you like join the Patreon, right? Go. Get your ass over there. There's more content. It's free. Thank you so much to those of you that have made it over to the Patreon. I appreciate you.
I'm still hungry.